Welcome to the debate. Today, we're really diving into a core tension that's shaping, well, the entire future of construction. It's this question of how we balance, these really ambitious environmental goals with the, let's face it, very real economic realities on the ground. The source material we're looking at, it lays out a pretty robust discussion around sustainable construction practices. And it specifically questions whether the long-term benefits of building green, which are pretty undeniable actually, outweigh the often significant upfront costs. I'll be making the case that sustainable construction, it isn't just some sort of environmental nice to have. It's actually an essential, economically sound path forward. It delivers huge long-term value and, critically, helps mitigate environmental impacts.
And I'll be presenting the counter-argument, really emphasizing that those high upfront costs that often come with green building approaches, well, they create barriers, sometimes insurmountable barriers, particularly for really essential projects, things like affordable housing. Look, for many people working in this industry, economic practicality, it's not just a preference, right? It has to take absolute precedence for projects even to get off the drawing board in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And to hear more about this world and dive deeper into these kinds of complex issues, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. So let's just be absolutely clear right from the start. Sustainable construction, it's really no longer some niche choice or an optional add-on. I mean, it is the undeniable future of this industry. The facts themselves are quite stark. Buildings, globally, contribute nearly 40% of carbon emissions. 40%. And look, this isn't just about, chasing after prestigious certifications like LEED or WELL, those internationally recognized standards, which, sure, they have value, but it's really about concrete, measurable benefits that impact everyone.
Green construction fundamentally targets massive reductions in energy use. It cultivates healthier indoor environments for the people living and working inside, and critically, it ensures that projects don't just retain their value, but often increase their value over the long term. Owners who make this investment, they consistently report lower operating costs, greater tenant satisfaction, and yes, stronger resale values. To ignore sustainability today is, well, frankly, it's an anachronistic approach. It's a bit like designing a city back in the early 1900s and just deciding to leave out the electricity infrastructure. It just makes no sense given our current climate reality. And the benefits are deeply integrated across a project's entire life cycle.
Okay, I hear the vision you're painting. I do. But I really have to anchor this discussion back in the economic realities, the ones that face the construction industry literally every single day. While the aspirations behind sustainable construction, yes, they sound noble, and I'm not going to dispute the environmental goals themselves, the practical constraints of the budget are, well, they aren't just paramount. They're often the gatekeeper. They decide whether a project even gets built at all. The truth on the ground for many is that green materials, the whole process of pursuing certifications, which comes with significant fees, by the way, and implementing high-tech systems like sophisticated energy management, all of that carries substantial upfront costs. Many clients, and I'm thinking particularly in critical sectors like affordable housing or maybe smaller community-focused infrastructure projects, they simply do not have the capital for these initial outlays. And let's be honest here, many of those so-called savings you're championing, those promised long-term returns, they often take a decade, maybe 2 decades, sometimes even a full 30 years to actually materialize. I mean, by then, the original developer or owner might well have sold the building, making those future savings pretty much irrelevant to their initial investment calculation. We need practical, cost-effective solutions that address immediate needs, not what often feel like, well, idealistic experiments that push the tangible benefits so far into the future that many people just won't ever see them.
See, labeling sustainable construction as idealistic experiments, I think that completely misrepresents its current standing. And frankly, it dismisses a huge body of evidence. We're talking about proven economics here, not some kind of speculation. The data, including the source material we're actually discussing today, clearly shows that green buildings deliver, on average, 14% lower operating costs within the first 5 years, okay?
This isn't some, far-off promise decades down the line. It's immediate, tangible savings that start almost as soon as people move in. And we aren't discussing like futuristic gadgets that haven't been tested. We're talking about readily available, off-the-shelf technologies. Things like high-efficiency HVAC systems, that's your heating, ventilation, air conditioning, solar panels, smart lighting controls. These are effective, they're widely adopted now, and they offer a clear return on investment that's realized much, much faster than you seem to imply. And what's more, to really get the full financial picture, we absolutely cannot overlook the support structures that governments are actively building. There are significant tax incentives out there, direct grants, even accelerated permitting processes specifically designed to encourage sustainable projects. So framing green building only as a burden just ignores the reality that for many, it's actually a significant financial opportunity if they're savvy enough to engage with it.
A financial opportunity, right. But the question is, for whom, precisely? That really gets to the core of my challenge here. It seems to be largely an opportunity for, developers with deep pockets, typically operating in major metropolitan areas, leveraging large-scale commercial projects where, yes, those incentives and those long-term operating cost reductions can be absorbed and eventually monetized. But what about the countless small contractors, the local community developers trying to build critically needed housing, or even just the individual homeowner? For them, the upfront cost, that is the critical and often insurmountable barrier. Yes, okay, a solar panel system or, say, high-performance triple-glazed windows might indeed pay off over 15 years in energy savings, as some models suggest. I'll grant you that. But if that initial capital expenditure pushes a project even marginally over budget, then that project simply doesn't happen. Full stop.
The housing crisis, which is a very real, immediate, pressing concern across the country, isn't solved with expensive green bells and whistles that only a select few can afford. It's solved with more affordable homes built and made available now. Green construction, or at least the way it's often pushed, frequently overlooks this fundamental and immediate economic reality. It focuses instead on a future that, frankly, many people cannot afford to even reach.
Okay, I appreciate you highlighting that immediate capital hurdle. I really do. But dismissing sustainable features as just bells and whistles, that completely misses the long-term impact on the very people we're supposedly trying to serve. When we talk about affordable homes, we must consider the full life cycle cost, because cutting sustainability measures might make homes seem cheaper in the short term. Yes, I concede that point, but it inevitably makes them far more expensive over the long run for the actual occupants, the tenants, the residents. They will face higher utility bills indefinitely, higher heating costs, higher cooling, higher electricity bills, precisely because the building wasn't designed for efficiency from the start. Is that truly acceptable? Is it genuinely affordable to simply shift the financial burden from the developer, from the initial construction budget, directly onto the shoulders of the people who actually live in those buildings, potentially for decades? I would argue that's not solving affordability at all. That's just displacing the cost. It's setting up future generations for, a ticking financial time bomb. And furthermore, resisting this shift now means we are actively delaying progress. Think about it. The more these technologies are adopted, the cheaper they become. Solar panels, for example, cost something like 90% less today than they did just 15 years ago. The same trajectory is likely for other energy-efficient materials and systems. By resisting this change, we are actively delaying crucial advancements that would eventually make these solutions accessible and beneficial for everyone.
Well, while that sounds compelling on the surface, it kind of sidesteps the fundamental ethical question for countless families, doesn't it? When someone is, let's say, drowning in current rent prices, struggling to make ends meet today, it is cold comfort, truly cold comfort, to tell them, oh, don't worry, in 20 years you'll save money on your electric bill. My point isn't if they will save money down the line eventually. It's whether they can afford to move into that home at all today, because the initial construction costs, perhaps inflated by these mandates you favor, have driven rents too high for them to even get in the door. You seem to be focusing on a long-term payback, while I think ignoring the immediate, often insurmountable upfront barrier to entry. The critical problem, as I see it, is that imposing sustainability mandates broadly without nuance, without context, is actually punishing small contractors and stifling the very construction we desperately need. Just imagine a local builder, right, trying to put up a small, maybe 5-unit apartment building for their community. Suddenly, they're forced to navigate complex new requirements for material sourcing or maybe elaborate energy modeling, things that only big firms with dedicated departments can easily handle. It's a disproportionate compliance burden. It drives up their costs, it complicates their projects, and inevitably, it slows down the construction of desperately needed homes. What we need, I believe, is market-driven innovation, where solutions emerge based on practical demand and actual cost-effectiveness, rather than these sort of top-down mandates that risk suffocating the very projects we need built and making them less accessible, not more.
I just find that argument problematic because it seems to present a false dichotomy, this idea that it's either affordability or sustainability. You talk about mandates, but let's maybe elevate this discussion for a moment to the broader concept of responsibility within the construction industry itself. Our projects, the buildings we create, they don't exist in a vacuum, right? They have incredibly far-reaching and profound impacts on communities, on public health, and yes, on the planet itself. We're talking about very real dangers that green construction directly addresses. Things like poor indoor air quality, which, as we know, can lead to chronic health issues, inefficient energy use that strains our collective resources, and the use of toxic materials that can harm both the construction workers building these places and the occupants later on. Green construction actively tackles these issues head-on.
Climate change isn't some distant threat anymore. It is here now. And it is already costing us billions upon billions in damage through extreme weather events, through natural disasters. Building sustainably isn't just about saving money in the long run for one particular owner. It is fundamentally about preventing these potentially catastrophic future costs and safeguarding our collective future. This is about more than just immediate profit and loss statements. It's about the very resilience of our societies. The U.S. construction industry, I believe, has the potential to lead globally in resilience and innovation. And any resistance now just feels like delaying an inevitable and frankly necessary shift that will ultimately benefit everyone.
Look, I am not denying the need for responsibility, not at all. But responsibility, in my view, profoundly includes the imperative of actually delivering projects that people can afford and that actually get built in the first place. My contention is that sustainability doesn't necessarily have to mean chasing platinum-level certifications or exclusively using the absolute most expensive, cutting-edge, high-tech solutions available. Sometimes, achieving significant sustainability goals comes down to simply good, solid, common-sense building practices that are robust and have been time-tested. I'm talking about things like building solid, durable structures, designed to last 50 years or more, using locally sourced, resilient materials where possible, rather than constantly chasing after, flashy, expensive credits that might look good on paper but offer diminishing returns for the actual cost involved. Things like good insulation, really focusing on the building envelope, proper natural ventilation strategies, smart building orientation to maximize natural light and minimize unwanted heat gain. These are fundamental elements, basic good design that can achieve substantial environmental benefits without necessarily inflating budgets with extras that sound great in a press release but maybe don't fit every single project or every client's budget. The core challenge here, as I see it, is achieving balance. Sustainability should absolutely be pursued, but strategically where it makes the most sense, where it provides the best overall value, rather than being universally mandated across the board without proper regard for context or cost. Because at the end of the day, the best building, the truly responsible building, is ultimately one that can actually be built, afforded, and used by people today, not just some theoretical structure designed for a perfect, distant future.
So, just to reiterate my position clearly, I maintain that sustainable practices are not merely an environmental imperative, though they certainly are that. They are also a powerful economic advantage. They drive genuine innovation within our industry. They profoundly protect the health and well-being of the people who occupy these spaces, and they are absolutely essential for safeguarding our planet from escalating future climate-related costs. The industry's future, its long-term profitability, and frankly, its relevance in a rapidly changing world all hinge on embracing this shift, not resisting it.
And to reaffirm my perspective,
While the goals of sustainability are undeniably important, and I don't think anyone disputes that, they must always be pursued with a pragmatic understanding of real-world affordability and practical implementation. Mandates or approaches that disproportionately inflate those critical upfront costs can severely hinder the very essential construction projects we desperately need, particularly in areas like affordable housing. We need a nuanced balance, recognizing that the most effective and perhaps the most truly responsible solutions are often those that manage to be both sustainable and genuinely accessible today.
Yeah, the tension between those immediate costs and the long-term benefits in sustainable construction is clearly a complex one. There are valid points and compelling evidence presented on both sides from the material we've explored today.
Indeed. It seems the path forward likely requires a very careful consideration of multiple perspectives and really understanding the specific context of each individual project. There's certainly always more to explore within this critical topic.
Absolutely. And if you found this discussion thought-provoking and you wish to continue exploring complex issues just like this one, please subscribe to The Debate for more in-depth analyses.